Today on Growing Bolder, in every life there will be adversity, but can you find the good along with it? Former NFL All-Pro linebacker Reggie Williams has made doing just that a lifelong practice, fueled by this mantra.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
It's that same fight that propels two-time stroke survivor and thriver Cecily Wilson.
That is the message that I want to tell anyone. When life deals you a negative blow, don't just take it. You've got to fight through it and keep moving. And that's what I did. And that's what I do on a daily basis.
How can you keep moving? Well, the Calendar Girls say it's simply easier and much more fun if you do it together. It's all ahead on Growing Bolder. We're not made to withdraw from life. We're made to seize each moment and to value every breath. We're made to be bold, to take risk, and to help others. We are the most creative, fearless, passionate being that has ever walked the face of the earth. Don't identify with limitation. Embrace possibility. This is not the beginning of the end. This is the beginning of what's next. This is Growing Bolder. Hi, I'm Mark Middleton, and this is Growing Bolder. And as we've said many times, Growing Bolder is not about ignoring the reality of our mortality. We are biological beings, and we will, without question, suffer a series of setbacks in our lives. Setbacks that can steal not just years from our life, but quality of life from our years. So the question becomes, how good are we at comebacks? How far can we bounce back? Ambition is a great thing, but tenacity, perseverance, and many times a willingness to endure pain and failure are the keys to a successful comeback. Which brings us to former NFL All-Pro linebacker Reggie Williams, whose entire life has been defined by tenacity and perseverance, but never more so than now. Former NFL great Reggie Williams is visiting his son Julian, a top-ranked mixed martial arts star, at his new gym in Orlando. The last time we caught up with Reggie, he was just days away from achieving his dream, running for the first time in 10 years on a leg that doctors said should be amputated. He had overcome 24 serious operations and multiple life-threatening infections that left his right leg nearly 4 inches shorter than his left. And he wasn't just going to run, he was going to do it in front of the fans he loved and who loved him back.
I was finally going to have an opportunity to go back to Cincinnati in front of the Bengals before a big game.
The date was set. Reggie was ready, but then disaster.
I know pain in my life, and so this wasn't pain, this was something just went wrong.
He was rushed to the hospital where doctors diagnosed an aortic dissection, a major tear in the large blood vessel that carries blood out of the heart.
And normally when that happens, you have a 99% chance of dying within 24 hours.
Reggie defied the odds, surviving emergency surgery.
So now, I have this nice scar, okay? It's a reminder of how blessed the opportunities in lives are and how fleeting and quickly it can all be taken away from you.
Reggie slowly regained his strength and his determination to run, but on New Year's Eve, disaster struck again.
And all of a sudden, my right arm started going in its own motion, doing everything. I was like, what is going on here? I started to notice that my speech was slurring. And so quickly I realized I'm in trouble again. And I was having a stroke.
He was in the hospital for 5 days. Medication dissolved the blood clots in his brain, but it took months of therapy to regain the ability to speak.
This is a milestone to be able to, talk a few months after a critical, impact to your capacity to speak.
Reggie hopes his major health scares are behind him, but he acknowledges that 14 years as one of the NFL's hardest-hitting linebackers makes him a likely candidate for CTE, the progressive degenerative brain disease found in athletes with a history of repetitive brain trauma.
And you think about all the rules that have been outlawed now, were legal then. you rang the bell, you know, of the concussions on a regular basis. And so practice is where you hone those skills. And there were a lot of players that didn't make it out of practice, much less, you know, had their concussions on an NFL field. I would bet that I will have CTC. The question is, what am I doing or what have I done so that I just haven't currently been negatively impacted in terms of my daily lifestyle by it?
Reggie believes that he has an obligation to his NFL brethren to not only delay or prevent CTE, but to successfully live with it should he be diagnosed.
What are things that I can do now to pre-rehab for the probability of more brain damage?
In the wake of his aortic dissection, his major stroke, and growing concerns about CTE, Reggie Williams is focusing once again on his dream of running onto a football field, and he spontaneously decides to attempt to take his first few strides in more than 11 years.
It might take 2 steps, it might take 4 steps. I don't know how many steps it is, but there's got to be progress. It's got to be that day that you actually do it. So this might be that day.
If he can jog just 1 step, it will be a major milestone in his impossible dream. His first attempt is a failure, and he's not discouraged for even a second. This is a man who never gives up. He changes locations, adjusts his technique, and tries again. It's not quite the speed with which he used to get into the backfield, but the thrill may be even greater than sacking Joe Montana.
I still have the dream of running on the field, and yet the dream of staying alive obviously is greater, you know.
Reggie Williams is a man who has defied the odds against him his entire life, and despite the prospect of another major battle ahead, he remains optimistic, a willing warrior, ready for whatever life throws his way.
Reggie is making his private health issues and his struggle to come back public. But when it happens on TV, live on the 6 o'clock news, while you're sitting in the anchor chair, well, that's something else altogether. That happened to our Cecily Wilson. She had a stroke, and she had a long and difficult recovery, never knowing for sure if she even would. But surviving would never be enough, which is why today Cecily is thriving. And what she's learned can make a difference for anyone facing adversity.
Yeah. My words were literally taken right out of my mouth. Experiencing a stroke on air. What? Yeah, just think about that for a moment. Your career is built on using the power of your words. And when you can't, suddenly your whole life passes in front of you. It's like trying to ride a bike without the wheels, or flying a bird without its wings. It can't happen. That just can't happen. And I didn't know what was going to happen. And I had to fight because I knew that this is all I've ever done. This is all I've ever wanted to do. I went to college for this, and I was not going to let a stroke stop me at that point. So it was hard, and this wasn't easy. I don't say it was easy, because nothing in life is easy. But this was really hard for me because I thought my whole life was going to be over, and I didn't know what was going to happen. Meanwhile, I was slowly going deeper and deeper into a depression because I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want anyone to know. I'm Cecily Wilson. I'm on television. I can't let them know that my life is going to hell in a handbasket. I can't let them see that. But that's when I tell women to raise the yellow flag. That vulnerability is not weakness, that's strength. When you wave that flag and say, I need help. I need help. You never know when that posse is going to come and rally behind you, like many have done for me. Dear girlfriends, people that I didn't even expect came to help, to support, to encourage, to pray for me. That's the power of knowing who's in your circle and who's there to help you. So I consider myself very, very blessed because people don't know. They would never be able to tell. They're like, you had a stroke? At what age? At 39. I didn't smoke, didn't drink, didn't do any of those things. Pretty much in good shape physically, but life just happens. And sometimes it's your calling card. That's it. But I fought through. And that is the message that I want to tell anyone. When life deals you a negative blow, don't just take it. You've got to fight through it and keep moving. And that's what I did. And that's what I do on a daily basis. Because I'm not the only one. I mean, this story isn't unique because it happens all the time. But what's unique about me is that I've decided not to just let it happen, to get back up instead of just giving up. So it's a cycle that we see consistently from every walk of life. It doesn't matter what color you are, what ethnicity, whatever, and even what gender you are, because life happens. You don't have any control of it, but you do have control over how you respond. That's a choice. That's always a choice. Just choose wisely. Choose joy. That was my post today. Choose joy.
Well, there's a lot we can learn from what people like Cecily have been through. No matter what your adversity is, here are a few things to remember. Don't let others define success for you. How you fight back depends on where you intend to go, not what someone else decides is acceptable for you. And then understand that recovery is not a race. It can take time. Progress can be agonizingly slow. Just understand that every day you fight keeps your dreams alive. Finally, recovery can be frightening. Don't fear the unknown. Just understand that fear is a sign that a brand new accomplishment is about to come within reach.
When I'm on the ship, I feel like I'm in my elements, and I love being around people then. I like talking about my job. I love talking about my crew to the guests. I like the spontaneity of it, especially when it's behind the scenes.
Mark Walker spent his entire adult life working on cruise ships. First as part of cruise staff, then working his way up to larger ships and bigger responsibilities, eventually being named cruise director on the longest cruise ship in the world. He loved it all, but his career came to an abrupt and unexpected halt as the coronavirus pandemic stopped travel worldwide.
I think it scared everybody, especially when you have a career which revolves around hospitality, travel, being amongst people. Yeah, probably the scariest thing I've ever been through in my life when it comes to job security.
It didn't take him long to realize the bills were piling up even though the paychecks were on hiatus. And while he was ready to work, what had his career at sea prepared him to do?
Having to describe what I do to someone who's never taken a cruise is the most impossible thing because you don't write it down. You know, we have a rule book, we have a job description, it's about 10 pages. I think like any job description, you follow it vaguely and there's so much more to the job. I probably applied for about 200 jobs, mostly driving jobs because I like to drive, I like to get out, I don't like sitting behind a desk. I think I probably only got about 5 responses from the applications, probably because of my job. They're probably thinking, well, he's going to go back to work soon. He's too much of a risk for us, which is true. I am going to go back to work eventually.
The competition for jobs was intense, and finding the right fit took a few tries. Mark started with DoorDash, knowing people still needed food delivery despite the pandemic. From there, he drove an airport shuttle van and worked for Publix.
We got Publix, how exhausting it is. You're standing for 9 hours. And I have so much more respect and admiration for anybody who works in that industry than I ever had before. You're often standing in one position for many hours, and it was killing my back. And I thought, it's either age or this just isn't for me.
Delivering cars for Carvana came next.
And I think many people in my business would refuse to do anything but entertainment. They'd rather stay in bed. because that's all they know. And they don't want to, I'm not going to drive a truck. Oh, no. But for me, it's kind of, got to do it. You have to do it if I want to keep that house.
Mark credits his upbringing for his humble work ethic.
My mum did a great job bringing me up, and my grandparents, because they had to do a lot of jobs. And I had no idea what they did to keep me and my sister at school, keep us fed. I had no idea the difficulties, especially my mum had. My mum had a very bad car crash when I was 5, which I saw. I witnessed it. And she went through such a bad time, and still is now, but she still went out to work for me, to provide for us. And when you're a kid, you don't really realize it until you look back and you go, wow. And I think all of that mentally gels inside you and molds you for your future.
If this had happened 15 years ago, this pandemic, where you were in your career, do you think you would have handled things differently?
Absolutely, yeah. I was 35 then, not a care in the world. I was single, just moved to Florida, and I wouldn't have been prepared mentally for this to happen. But definitely as you get older, you do get a little bit more smarter in decision making, and you make a lot smarter decisions. You don't jump into doing things without thinking the whole path out. And now I have children, 2 girls, 6 and 9. Every decision I now make, they're in that decision process.
Mark admits he's learned a lot throughout this career pivot.
Only you can fix it. Nobody else is going to do it for you. You have to do the homework. You have to put the groundwork in. You have to follow up. You have to make those phone calls. You have to send those emails, unless you're one of the extreme lucky ones where people come running to you offering you work. I wish it was that easy. But all the jobs I've had the past year, I've had to go get them myself. Turn the clock back and do this all again, I would probably do the same again, given the choice, because I've learned so much from other people about how they survive with so little. And I'm proud of myself that I've managed to come this far. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
As you just saw in that story, Mark Walker used the gig economy to bridge his income gap during COVID-19. He also dabbled in it before the pandemic during his time off from the ship. He's not alone. More and more older workers or retirees are using technology to pad their income or add to their retirement savings. Sometimes, like in Mark's case, it's out of necessity. Other times it can be an opportunity to try a field that's always interested you, to connect with others, and even discover new passions or purpose. If you have a phone or a computer, there are multiple options to work from home and work schedules that are flexible. The first step, make a list of what you know how to do, either from past jobs or current hobbies. Those things people always say, you're so good at that. But don't forget those things you've always wanted to try or learn more about. Next, log on to one of the many gig economy sites and see what's out there. You can leverage years of work experience in your field to be an independent consultant or project manager with companies like Upwork, Guru, or TopTal. You can offer online classes or coaching via Zoom. Deliver goods or people for Uber or DoorDash. Do you love pets? Become a dog walker on Rover. Organized and efficient? You can provide help around the house or run errands via TaskRabbit. Whether you're looking for a side hustle to pay the bills or something to bridge the gap while you decide your what's next, there are tons of options out there. For more information, go to growingbolder.com and search gig economy.
We all know how important it is to stay active and stay in shape. It's the key to good health. But it doesn't have to feel like work or even happen in a gym. That's the secret some 30 women discovered when they joined a group called the Calendar Girls.
Well, there is a number of senior women's dance teams, but they're not all the same. And I think what sets us apart is a couple things. One is our cause, and the Southeastern
Guide Dogs.
And I think the other thing is there's 30 of us. And, to get 30 women to be in sync and to have that energy and positive attitude, I think it really makes us much different.
And there is something else. The Calendar Girls range in age from their 50s up to 80, each of them staying fit, having fun, and making a difference in the lives of others.
We bring smiles wherever we go. Nursing homes, country clubs, biker rallies. And since 2006, we have proudly sponsored 24 Southeastern guide dogs for an American veteran. And so we've not only entertained our community and modeled fitness, but we've served the United States veterans, and we're very proud of that.
They also offer something else, something more subtle. You can see it in their faces and their attitude. The Calendar Girls show us all that age can be amazing.
I'm turning 70, and it's a lot of fun. It's a decade to celebrate that I feel good, I have great friends.
This is one of the only groups I've ever seen where women can't wait to tell you their age.
Oh, absolutely.
We're proud of, we're proud of who we are, and we're all different shapes and sizes, but we're healthy, we're conscious of our body, we listen to our body, which, like, when you get older, a lot of times people want to just discredit you. They're, you can't do that. And we're like, watch this. We love it when people come up and say, how old are you? And I'll say, 65. No, you're not. Well, yes, I am.
What do you think the message is? What do you hope the people that see you go home and start thinking about?
Don't ever give up. There's so much life in life, and just to continue to be healthy and to do the things that you love and push yourself. One of the things that we do is challenge ourselves every day physically and mentally as we learn new routines. And like CJ said, we're not just doing short routines, we're doing some pretty interesting moves that girls half our age are doing. And so the message is, age is just a number. Be proud of that number. And the older I get, the more proud I am to say, I am I am over 60 years old, and yes, I'm on a senior women's dance team. It's fabulous. I feel great. I don't take any medications. I haven't felt this way since I'm in my 20s.
Probably what I'd like to do is see our walk-a-thon.
Donna, what's it taught you about age that you didn't expect or didn't know?
It doesn't have to, I don't have to have it. Age doesn't define me at all. What defines me is how I feel, what I do for my community, how I give back. And so aging with this group of sisters is not aging, it's growing.
Something else that grows is their love for Southwest Florida, because the Calendar Girls believe that where you live can make a big difference in how you live.
Southwest Florida loves the Calendar Girls. I can't imagine the Calendar Girls not being around. And, you do have to think about that, but I want everybody to know that, we're here, we're vibrant, we love life. This can be you.
How about the Calendar Girls? They are an interesting example of how important the people you hang out with are. Because if they're active, you'll tend to be active. If they're optimistic, energetic, and compassionate, well, then you found a great group that'll keep you healthy, active, and vital for a long time to come. For more stories on ordinary people living extraordinary lives, go to growingbolder.com/TV.
We started this episode of Growing Bolder talking about comeback. So how is your comeback going? And don't say I'm not making a comeback, because all of us are in the middle of a comeback right now. We're coming back from a broken heart or a broken leg, from a bad investment, a bad childhood, a bad relationship, or a bad cold. We're coming back from the loss of a job or the loss of a friend. If you want to accept the impact of your most recent setback, well, that's your right. Comebacks can be tough. But do understand that there will be another setback and then another. That's life. And if you don't bounce back from each one, the impact will become cumulative, each one extracting a toll on the overall quality of your life and ultimately determining how quickly we age and how long we maintain our independence. So become a comeback kid. Try to bounce all the way back from every setback. In fact, try to be better than before, because that's growing bolder. We'll see you next time.
Watch previous seasons of Growing Bolder plus bonus stories via our new free streaming app. More information at growingbolder.com/TV. And you can get inspired to plan your what's next when you connect with the Growing Bolder community on Facebook. Show the world you're growing bolder with official Growing Bolder products. Growing Bolder tees and hats are available for $25 each. Custom mugs are $15, and inspiring Tear and Share postcards featuring original artwork and bold messages are $15 plus shipping and handling. All items are available at growingbolder.com/shop.